Alright, so stop me when you know what movie I'm describing. There's two young men. They're both working as shepherds in the most rural countryside you could imagine. Both are attracted to each other. They start having aggressive, uncomfortable to look at, barely lubricated sex, but slowly fall in love. Their employer is onto them, but doesn't really do anything about it. They split up, but then back together, and the movie is directed by a guy whose surname is Lee. You got it? I, of course, am describing God's Own Country. So I just watched Francis Lee's big man-loving man story of exactly what I just described, and while sitting in my seat in the cinema munching on chocolate licorice, I couldn't help but get a sensation of deja vu. It's been 12 years since Brokeback Mountain was released, so how come I'm watching the Irish version in 2017? I don't have anything insightful to say about Francis Lee's work or the movie itself. I'm just shook at the fact that these two movies are so incredibly similar. So similar, there are scenes that are almost shot for shot, in my opinion. You'd think that with the queer movie section still being so small, you wouldn't want to make the same movie twice. I feel like the two movies wouldn't be compared so much if God's Own Country didn't have queer characters in it. If there was a straight version of Brokeback Mountain released this year, I doubt anyone would say, hey, this is exactly like Brokeback Mountain. Because all anyone remembers about Brokeback Mountain is how exceptionally queer it is. I'm not even mad that Francis Lee would take arguably the most memorable queer movie of all time and make his own very similar but still unique story. Because there's a huge difference between the two. The most significant difference between the story of Brokeback Mountain and God's Own Country is that Francis Lee gives the protagonists a happy ending, something we queer people really are starved for. Lee must understand that queer people are tired of being made tragedies out of, tired of being shown as only happy until punished by society or God's hand. He understands that we fear that this representation will do more harm than good, telling queer kids that they'll never grow old together because they'll die young of a hate crime or AIDS. That really brings this movie to a higher level for me. God's Own Country is not a thoroughly happy story. The main protagonist, John, is living a miserable existence. His mother is dead or disappeared, I can't remember the specifics. His father had a stroke, making it hard for him to work. Him and his grandmother are never supportive of John. John has no hope. He's stuck in this life where his old classmates go to uni, while he gets to inseminate cows to help out the only family he has left. Then comes along someone who seems to understand him. John and Georgie don't have any conversations longer than 30 seconds at a time in the movie. It is directed in a way that the silence speaks for itself. The way they look at each other and move at each other is enough said. They make each other happy till the end. The ending is closed off, and they're together and they're both alive. That's hope. And even if you have a shit life, a shit past, and a bleak future, you can still find happiness. Brokeback Mountain doesn't have that. In the end, there's no hope. There's only memories of the great times left. 2016 especially was a year full of anti-hope in the queer media. And the fact that God's Own Country could become as classic as Brokeback Mountain, but has this great uplifting ending, is so fucking good. Francis Lee, you didn't remake Brokeback Mountain. You fixed it for 2017.
And I wanted to see characters in a British film who are involved in a same-sex relationship that do have hope. You know, it's rare to see, for me, characters in a same-sex relationship where it ends with some kind of hope. You know, it's usually some awful tragedy or loneliness or isolation or internal hatred. And I love hope, and I think hope is really important. And the two characters work really hard.